Today, we have Katie DavisCourt, and she works at Rebel News, which is a super hot news station right now. They're on the ground everywhere, all over the world, and they're blowing it up, man. They're super popular. This girl has 100,000 followers on Twitter, just in case you didn't know. So we kind of fangirled when we saw her here because I've been watching her overseas, and I was like, we got to get her on. I need to know what she's doing next.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe I met such great people just walking in to this great event.
You know, that's what's probably cool for you is because you're going into a lot of heated and contested type interviews, things like that, where as Rebel News, probably not their biggest fan, and they're probably not your biggest fan.
Right.
So you come into a place like this, and it's a lot more conservative centric.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah, so I got started. I'm from Seattle, and I started citizen journaling in 2018. Grew my own platform when the riots started. So what he's talking about is I predominantly film on Antifa. That's where I really got my start, documenting the takeover of the modern day brown shirts. And I'm one of their main targets. So Rebel News, we are contrarians. We go out and fight for the truth everywhere. And that is why we have people that support us like you guys, but also a lot of enemies. And it is really great to be here and not have to watch my back and be worried about getting attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to make you feel more at home, I can.
Oh, yeah, right.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to.
Well, you got to cover your face in black first.
Oh, that's true. So let me ask you a question. You said you started out independent. Did you just wake up one day and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go check this out. I'm going to go down there with my cell phone and record and go Facebook Live? Or
that's actually almost exactly what happened. So I heard that there was a group going to be rallying for Trump in Seattle. I was like, what is this? I was shocked because in Seattle, that's pretty ballsy. And this was in 2018. I go, I need to find out who these people are because, one, I'm alone in my own views in Seattle. And you're just like, wow, there's more of me. There's more people. So I went out and I didn't even know what Antifa was. And that was my first time I ever had encounters with Antifa because they came and did what they always do, drown you out with their noisemakers, use violence to silence whoever is speaking. Really the modern day Nazi Germany tactics.
Yeah.
And so I took my phone out and I go, why? I'm someone that's very in the know and I didn't know what this group was. So I took my phone out, just started recording and posting, and Antifa started attacking the police. And I was like, what is going on? Because I got home. This is where I got started. I got home and I saw on our local news channels were posting videos of the police attacking Antifa. And I go, what the hell? That is not what happened. I was there and I actually recorded it. So that was my first probably semi-viral video that I posted because I started counteracting our local news's narrative and said, here's the full clip. Antifa attacked our police first. Mm-hmm. And so then it became kind of addicting, fighting back against our local news, and I just kept doing it and built my platform.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you do from there? I mean, you told me you had worked somewhere else before Rebel News, correct?
Yeah, so I got picked up after the 2020 riots. I joined the Post Millennial. It's an amazing publication. Our most known people are probably Andy No, Jack Posobiec. They do a lot of publication work. So I started doing a lot of investigative reporting on the far lefties, but also really just covering all of politics, anything really going on in the nation. But my roots are on the ground citizen reporting, grassroots, and Rebel News contacted me and picked me up. And so they gave me an opportunity that I couldn't say no to, and I love Rebel News, and so I'm very excited to be with them now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous.
Oh,
right?
yes.
I'm trying to build my own platform, but if Rebel News contacted me tomorrow and said, hey, we want you to come work for us, I'd probably say, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's
so
very
Rebel
cool.
News, it started in Canada, but we're expanding. We have amazing reporters in a lot of different countries now. There's only 2 of us in the U.S., but we are expanding soon. So, Josh, maybe there'll be opportunities soon.
I'm used to combat zones. I could do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, now that's the cool thing, too, is because you were picked up as one of their 2 United States reporters, if you will, right?
Yeah.
But that hasn't stopped them from sending you everywhere.
Right.
So
Rebel News, we do a lot of, obviously we cover a lot of politics, and our slogan is we tell the other side of the story. But we are going after the global leaders, specifically the World Economic Forum, the Great Reset. So we are going, we call them foreign missions, and we go and cover everything that's happening worldwide that links to what's going on across the world. So went to the Netherlands, covered the Dutch farmers' protest, because that is really policies set forth by the World Economic Forum with the Climate 2030 agenda. They are seizing farmland. They're trying to decrease their nitrogen emissions, and they're putting a lot of the farmers out of the jobs. What a lot of people don't know is that the Netherlands is the #2 exporter in the world for agriculture.
Oh,
so
wow.
if they go after the Netherlands farmers and destroy they're going to own their food supply. And you look in the U.S., Bill Gates, he owns all the most farmland in the world, and that's what comes with feudalism. You know, the empire falls, and all the elites buy farmland because that's the only assets that you're going to have left.
Yeah.
So they own the farmland, they're going to own the food supply. But yeah, we're going to Argentina next month. We'll be going to Egypt. We'll be going to Davos. We're going to be covering all, and we're going to be going after the global leaders.
That's amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
I saw Aviz Yemeni.
Yeah.
And he went to Davos, and he had some killer videos. And that's what got me hooked on Rebel News, actually, was when he
Awesome.
went after the New York Times
Yes.
in front of him about how they were solicited there by the World Economic Forum. But I was just like, wow, these people are banging. And so I started following, and I saw you in the Netherlands. And then you showed up here to the event. I'm like, oh, I know her.
Yeah, you're like Rebel News.
I was like, I know her.
Yeah.
We have to go hang out with her. So I'm really glad we got her on the show because she rocks. And I'm super excited to see her go to Egypt because that place is actually pretty cool, even though you're going to go into hostile territory.
Right, I know. Lara Logan.
Yes.
Yeah, she got attacked in Egypt. Luckily, we're not going to Cairo. We're going to some area called Sharm el-Sheikh. Probably totally butchered that name. But it's on the Red Sea. It's known to be more of a tourist area.
Oh, good.
I think we have security. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not just me going by my lonesome. I'll be with a team of Rebel News. So we're in it together. We're going to expose some of the world leaders that are there, hopefully get some great shots and bring it back to everyone.
That's awesome. Let me ask you a question. What has been your favorite story to cover? And I guess not from I guess in two different ways, right? And it's probably going to be different answers.
Yeah.
Or maybe the same. What's been your favorite story to cover that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm witnessing this happening? And then what has been your favorite story to cover as far as... Goodness, I actually forgot the other way that I was going to ask that, but...
No, I know, but
yeah.
I get you down. Yeah, so I have a few favorite moments. One of them was COVID restrictions happened.
Mm-hmm.
This small town in Washington called Mossy Rock, they basically said, screw you. Their sheriff said, screw you to the governor. They kept everything open. They kept getting fined and fined and fined after fine. And they had a big party essentially and invited everyone, and it was just because Governor Inslee went full tyrant during COVID. We were one of the last states to reopen. He still has emergency powers, only 2 governors left. He's one of them. Mossy Rock defied the orders, went down there, and it was just this slice of freedom in such a communist state that it really inspired a lot of people. Another one of my favorites was covering the 2020 riots. I actually do like going in the war zones. People, have that little crazy in me, I guess. But I essentially embedded myself in with Seattle police. I were able to know what tactics that they use, that I was able to go and report from a safe spot. And one time, usually when they would start going after the protesters, I would disperse myself because I didn't want to get attacked, but I stayed with them the whole time, went from start to finish. I got arrest after arrest. I was, dodging flashbangs, dodging tear gas, whatever you could think of.
Yeah.
It was just, I just can't believe that was what was going on in our country at the moment, and no one was reporting on it on the ground.
Yeah.
And so that's also how I got my platform raised. Was Fox News picked up a lot of my footage from 2020.
Oh, very cool.
So that was kind of how I grew my own platform too.
Well, that should be encouraging for a lot of people too. Like, you didn't go the traditional journalist route, right?
Right.
So instead what you did was you said, I want to get the truth out there. And that's really what a lot of people even here are doing, right? They're out here trying to say, what's going on, right? Right or wrong, how's it look? What's going on? And that's really what we are starving for in the United States, especially, and probably throughout the world, I would imagine.
Right.
I'm not a world traveler. I haven't traveled like you have, or you. But, you know, here in the United States, we are starving for truth because we're spoon-fed from these liberal elite media conglomerates. And what we are witnessing happening, besides a fly hitting my hair, what we're witnessing happening is people are controlling the narrative. And it really is a narrative, right? They are shaping a story, and it's not the truth in many instances. So when we have people, citizen journalists that step up and go say, hey, here's what I'm seeing, and then go live and share that, or record video and share that later, it adds the perspective, and it gets people to finally start stopping and questioning things. And we should be doing that at minimum.
I totally agree. You know, I think independent reporting is one of the most important things that can happen in America right now, because when you control the media, you control the narrative, and it's one of the reasons why. I mean, I'm sure you guys have dealt with censorship. I've dealt with censorship, and they want to censor citizen journalists and independent reporters because the media can't control what we are putting on the internet.
Yeah.
The truth.
Guerrilla reporting.
Yeah, we are.
You are guerrilla reporters. That's why I'm always on Rebel News on like Twitter and stuff, because your videos are just stuff nobody has. Like that content doesn't exist,
right?
Except for you guys. Like Andy, I know Andy went through that whole thing where he got hit in the head. And, and he went through all the Antifa riots and stuff. And I followed him, and then Rebel News popped. This is so rad. So it's really cool to see somebody on film actually get down and dirty in the Netherlands and interview farmers and find out what's actually going on there, because unbeknownst to us, they're not reporting it.
And you know what was so interesting about the Netherlands is their media is so corrupted too, and their media, instead of reporting on the farmers, they were reporting on Rebel News being in the Netherlands. So everything that came out was just Rebel News in the Netherlands or any other independent group that was there, but nothing about the farmers uprising against their government, which they told us all is the start of their civil war. You think that a media would report on essentially a civil war about to start?
Yeah. You would think.
Yeah.
You know, I have a question. I was going to say something, but I'm actually going to ask a question of it first.
Okay.
Has there ever been a story, and if so, what is it, of a time you were contacted and said, we're going to send you to this situation, and you didn't know otherwise that it existed? And I can give you an example if you're like, what are you talking about, Josh?
Give me an example.
So Rebel News, many years ago, they sent one of their reporters that they used to have working for them to Africa, South Africa.
Yeah.
And they reported on the murders of white people that were happening.
Yeah.
Like, nobody in the world knew about it or was talking about it, but there were a lot of people who were, hey, we want to take our land back, and their idea was, let's get the government to, redistribute it back. So a lot of these, farmers that were there, they were going in and the families were being murdered. And if you didn't turn on Rebel News at that time, you would have never heard about it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. We find stories that no one's reporting on. And it really just, I haven't been with Rebel News long enough. Yeah. I just started with them 3 weeks ago is when I joined officially. I freelanced with them when I was in the Netherlands. So that was my big introduction into Rebel. But yes, there's going to be a lot more opportunities like that. I can't say exactly when because we find the news, but that is jobs like me and my coworkers to find these stories. I will say a lot of people message and contact us and give us leads. And so if you're listening and you have a lead and you're like, I have a huge story that no one's reporting on, let us know, because nothing's off limits for us. We are here for the truth.
Absolutely. Is there anything you want to, well, actually, it looks like you have a question.
I do. I got one wild question. So Avi Mini just got kicked out of New Zealand.
Yes.
Do you ever hope to get kicked out of a country someday because you're so effective? And if so, which country?
Wow, that would be a badge of honor. I feel like I'm going to get deported from the U.S. where we're at right now. But no, that's very interesting. It was him. So what happened, what she's talking about is our Australian reporter Avi Yemeni and his partner Rakshan, they were banned from entering New Zealand to report on a freedom protester because Avi Yemeni is hands down, single-handedly, along with Rakshan, exposed what was going on in Australia. If you did not watch Avi and Rebel News in 2020 reporting on Australia, you would have had no idea what their lockdowns were like. You would have had no idea that they weren't allowed to work, that they were getting arrested just for being outside. It was, I don't know, it's still shocked. Like, it's hard to say words because it's so shocking, but they decided to go report in New Zealand. Avi was permanently barred from going, and it was a conspiracy between the government and the police to ban them because there's nothing legal binding to why they were banned. So I don't know, maybe where would I want to get banned from? I don't know, like, no, honestly, nowhere, because it'd be sucky not to go, but
I think you're right. I think you called it. You're going to get banned from the United States. You're going to be like, go back to Canada. You're going to be like, but I'm an American.
Exactly. It's going to be like that one, what's his name? He's super famous and he's hiding out right now. He's a journalist. WikiLeaks.
Oh, Julian Assange.
Yes. Like that.
You're going to be in an embassy in a country.
Exactly. I'm going to have to be in hiding in a different country.
Oh my gosh,
come back to the U.S.
5 years, 6 years, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if people want to follow your work other than going to Rebel News, is there a social media handle, and which social media or anything like that?
Yeah, thank you. You can follow me personally at Katie DavisCourt, KatieDavisCourt, all one word, on all social media. I'm the only Katie DavisCourt that I know of in the United States, maybe in the world. So you can find me on all platforms there, and then you can support Rebel News at Rebel News or Rebel News USA. We're on all platforms too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
We look forward to following more of your work, and at some point I'm going to contact you again, and we'll have you on if that's cool.
I would love to. I love you guys. I'm so glad I met you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.